Hi, this is Diane Lovetobake, and what we're going to make is actually a chocolate applesauce cake. If you're looking for more of a traditional applesauce cake with nuts and raisins and that type of thing, I do have one video on my channel, so do check it out. But this particular layer cake is so easy to make, and if you like apples, and who doesn't like chocolate or milk chocolate with apples, well, it's just a great combination. So let's get started. First, we're going to start off with 2 eggs, and I've had them at room temperature. Now you can of course make this recipe with your hand mixer if you want, but I find the stand up is much quicker and faster for the videos. So I'm just going to beat those eggs. The next thing I'm going to do is put in granulated sugar, and you're going to use 1½ cups of granulated sugar. And you want these eggs and the sugar to be very well together. In fact, about 3 minutes or so. I'm going to move it along due to the video, but you want it to be very pale yellow, very creamy, and very light, combining the eggs and the sugar. I'm going to raise my speed so the sound is going to get a little bit loud. Okay, again, about 3 minutes doing that, but again, I'm moving it along. The next thing that we're going to do is we're going to put in oil. Now you're going to use 1/2 cup of oil. You decide what you prefer in the type of oil to use. Okay? I'm just going to beat that oil in. I'm going to raise my speed. Getting our dry ingredients together, you're going to need 2 cups of all-purpose flour. In that flour, you're going to be putting 1 teaspoon of baking soda. That was 1 teaspoon. You're going to be also putting in 1 teaspoon of baking powder. Okay. You're also going to be putting in 1/4 teaspoon of ground cloves. So this has a nice, spice taste to this cake. You're going to be adding a 1/2 teaspoon, 1 teaspoon of salt. That was 1 teaspoon, okay? And the last dry ingredient that we're going to put in, of course, is cinnamon. And we're going to put 1 teaspoon of cinnamon into the dry. And then with my spoon, I'm just going to mix it all in together, stir it in into the dry. Now, the only thing that we need, of course, is the applesauce. So this is 1 cup of applesauce. You can use the one that I'm using, actually an unsweetened, applesauce. I prefer to use the unsweetened. That's going to be up to you. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to alternate the dry with the applesauce till it all becomes a nice cake batter. Okay, so we'll get this started to come along here and beat. Okay. And then I'm just going to add some of the applesauce and a little bit more flour. I'm going to raise my speed a little bit. And as you see, I'm just alternating between the two. I'm going to put the rest of the flour in. And we're going to add the rest of the applesauce. I'm going to get that all in there. There we go. Okay. And that was 1 cup of applesauce. And I'm going to raise my speed. Okay. And again, just beat that till you know that it's all mixed well together. I'm cleaning the sides of my mixing bowl, making sure to get to the bottom of that beater or that paddle. And I'm just going to bring it up just for another couple seconds. Okay, you're going to need pans, of course. So you're going to need two 8-inch pans. You can go ahead and use a 9-inch if you have 9-inch. That's, you know, up to you again. I heavily greased them and I did dust them with flour, okay? So let me get my paddle off here, taking the excess batter off of it. And I'll set that aside. Okay. And then again, just to make sure that everything's combined. And you can see it really comes out a very nice batter. You can really see that cinnamon in that. And then you can really, when this cake bakes up, really smell the apples and the cloves. And it's just a really great tasting cake once you bake it up. And once you get it into your pans, of course, we're just going to make sure that it's as level as possible. Okay. And you want them to be equal. Get them as close as you can. And I'm going to get a knife here and take the excess off. And just to get a little bit, get everything out of that mixing bowl. Okay, and then we'll just smooth that around. And that one looks pretty good. And this one needs just a little bit more. And I will get that out for that. There we go. All right. And we'll just level that off. All right. And then I always like to just tap my pans a little bit before they go in the oven. Now they're going to go into a preheated oven at 350 degrees, and it's going to take you probably about 30 minutes. About 30 minutes to bake these up, but do start checking them around 20 minutes or so. But 30 minutes is generally, they bake up quite nice for me in that amount of time. Okay, now I want to rinse my hands very quickly here. And I'd like to show you what this cake looks like once it's baked up, and then I want to explain to you quickly what I did for the filling and for the topping. For the filling of the cake, I actually used 4 cups of powdered sugar, 6 tablespoons of soft butter, or go ahead, use margarine if that's what you have, 3 teaspoons of vanilla, and 4 tablespoons of milk. And I used my hand mixer and I just beat it all together till it's smooth. Now add your milk slowly, because you might want a little less. You might want it thicker or thinner or that type of thing. So what I did was, after the cakes came out and I cooled them on a cooling rack, I released them from the pans, and then I actually filled the layers with what I just told you how to make it, and I also covered the sides. The last thing what I did was I took chocolate chip morsels, and I believe I did about 2 cups of chocolate chip morsels, and I put about 4 tablespoons of solid shortening. I put it in a bowl, I melted it in my microwave, and then I actually just poured it all over the cake, and then, you know, did the sides and covered the sides. So again, it's, you know, covered with chocolate. Now once it dries, it will be hard to the touch, as you can see. It won't come off in your hands or anything like that. So it's going to be a nice coating. So let's cut this open to show you what this applesauce chocolate cake looks like, okay? And I'll just cut right down into it. I want to grab a plate so you'll be able to see it. Okay, and we're going to take, whoops, a piece out of this cake. And that's how it's going to come out. You're going to have this beautiful buttercream type filling in it. It's more of an icing or a filling, I should say, rather than a frosting. And then underneath it, of course, underneath the chocolate and the sides, you've got all the filling. So you've got it between the layers, on the top and on the sides. Very lightly, very thin. And then I don't know if you can really see into the cake. Now the cake itself comes out very moist and quite delicate. It's not a real dense or heavy cake, but on the other side of it, it's not, you know, extremely light either. So it's just a great tasting cake with a cup of coffee or a cup of tea or that type of thing. And I'm going to take a fork, because I'm hoping that you'll be able to maybe see the crumb and that it is very light in texture. It's just a great tasting little cake, as I mentioned, with apples and spices and then chocolate on top. Well, there you have it. If you try this recipe and you like it, well, leave a comment, because I'd like to hear from you. And as always, I want to thank you for watching Diane Lovetobake. Please subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you soon.